It was definitely a different vibe, we had a different reputation at the time. We were primarily known as Rude Boys, and Rude Girls was kind of overlooked, as was everything in the women's side of the snowboarding industry. But I mean, yeah, so that's kind of how I got involved. I was fortunate that in 2013, my boss at the time kind of walked out on the job just because of a past owner. They didn't see eye to eye. And when she left, she kind of left it all to me. I was the only girl at the shop, so I literally was the only person to start doing the buying. And I asked my manager, I'm like, or one of the owners was like, if I'm taking over the buying, I want to take over the management. I want to change shit up. You said that we're like a brand, a shop, and a community. I think that like we were a shop first, and then we became a community, and then I think the brand was kind of built off of that. I hate calling us a brand though, because I feel like that separates us from the community side of everything. And I would like to, I personally like to think that we're a shop for the community. I mean, what it means to me is like, inclusivity is the biggest thing. Is like, I mean, me personally, I know when I moved to town, it was very much a scene in snowboarding, and that was kind of the vibe anywhere though, in that the good riders didn't talk to people who weren't as good as them. You know, they were all a friend group. The only reason that I didn't even snowboard when I started working at the snowboard shop. I didn't know how to snowboard. I didn't know what union bindings were. Somebody asked me to set up the board, and I was like, oh, my hands are too finicky. I can't. I'm not even lying. Oh my God, you should have heard me talk about magnet traction. It was so bad.
Cute. Even Gabby, like my boyfriend worked at the shop, or like was it somewhat affiliated with the shop back then? He's like, yeah, I remember like going boarding with Abby like in the early days, and like yeah, but it's cool because like I feel like the boys of the shop are so down to help the girls too, and like, you know, help them learn and teach them new tricks. And like you look at someone like Christy Pryor, who was just like living in Banff on a working holiday, and she got to know like John Chu and
Guillaume and Stu Barley,
and they just like, they could tell that she was like eager to learn, and like
they took her under their wing, and she like taught her how to blunt and like, taught her how to jump too. Like she was so crazy.
Yeah, but it's cool seeing like the boys that are affiliated with the shop like helping the girls as well, and then like the early years seeing the girls like really start to progress, and then just that passion like sparked, and seeing the girls then like, you know, new girls come to town, and just like again just like teaching and showing each other, and like just watching that like passion. And
I feel like we've broken through that barrier where like it doesn't matter how good you are, how shit you are, everybody, if you're here to snowboard, like everyone just becomes friends because of snowboarding. And I mean, totally biased. I do like to think that maybe the shop had something to do with that, by doing these Rude Girls Ride Days. Yeah, like Lindsay said, like the guys are crazy supportive of all the girls, and you'll see them wearing, like whenever we get new Rude Girls swagging, they're coming in for the Rude Girl stuff and not the Rude Boy stuff. It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. Nikki got involved. Nikki and I fell in love with each other over our mutual love. over our mutual love for Christy Pryor. It was literally one conversation. We became best friends.
We used to like really want to like ride park a lot, except like we used to go up there and like it was like maybe 3 uni tests.
Yeah.
And like we'd be too nervous to like to hit anything in front of the boys, so we'd wait for everyone right? Like we'd like hike like a box or a rail and like hit it, but we were like, it wasn't intimidation, it was just like, you know, like we didn't really feel like there was a community of women in this town that like would ride park together. It was predominantly back then like mostly the guys, and they were really good, and like it was like impressive to watch, but we weren't there, so like we wanted to learn, but we also didn't want to do it in front of them. So like we used to hike together
a lot.
And so like, but then like after a season, like other girls had noticed it, or even the dudes and stuff, and like one day we were like, we need to like do something where girls can just like have the opportunity to hit features and not feel this way. And like it wasn't because the guys in town were like deliberately doing it. It was just based on our own kind of like feeling of like not wanting to do it in the park constantly. So I think that's where the first ride day kind of propagated from, right?
So Alyssa, who was actually one of the most unapproachable people when I first moved to town, but we became best friends. And then she's always said that she wanted to do like a community ride day sort of event, and she's like, I don't know how to go about it. And then she kind of stopped snowboarding because of injuries, and then conversation came up with all the girls we were riding with in 2014, and it just kind of 2015 it manifested.
And it's funny because Abby just before I went, I lived in Wanaka, New Zealand for a season, and like Abby and I had met just before I went traveling. So when I was away, she was like messaging me and being like, hey, like, where are you working? And like tried to like link me up with different like job opportunities and shit, which was really cool just because like, yeah, I was still like this solo traveler in Wanaka, just like so stoked on snowboarding. But yeah, it was awesome just to like have that connection, even though I wasn't even in the country. And like,
yeah. If we ever hung out, we might have seen a horror movie with each other.
Yeah.
So weird. Anyways.
So have you guys all been around in that scene, like, what did you say, since like from 2013, 14 onwards?
Yeah, like Nikki and I moved to town 2011. Yeah, when did you get to town? 2009?
2009, but I just snowboarded with like random friend. I worked at like up at a big kind of company, and I was a little bit like excluded from town, I felt like. So I was riding with like people up there, but then as soon as I got back from my 2-year travels, it was like, it just felt like it was on. Like I was in contact with Abby, and then I met Nikki pretty quickly, and like Tessie and Allie, and we started snowboarding together. And
yeah, we had a decent girls crew in 2014 and 15, and like people kind of took note, and guys would always comment on the girls group. Like it was maybe only 6 or 7 of us, but like we'd always go riding every day in the park. Nikki had the most insane front lips that she could do on fucking anything. There's this massive 40 down rail, this 40-foot down rail. It was so big. I think I still have the video. If you go deep on the Root Boys account, it's there. But yeah, massive front lip to fakie. It was so crazy. Yeah, really fun times. But that's kind of how.
Damn, that's sick. So like a lot of the core crew is like still around, hey?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we kind of have
that's photo.
Yeah, and like Nikki and Lindsay have been so involved from the get-go, really. Like so involved.
Isabel too. Izzy's in Canmore now, and a little bit more kind of settled down and stuff, but she's still like, I've boarded with her a handful of times this season. And best method, yeah. She
also best from boards too.
I'm loving Nikki's side comments.
I know.
That's not it.
That's not it.
While she's kneading the dough.
Oh yeah, the pizza queen.
Love you, guys.
How impactful do you think it is to have a girl in a local shop? Like, obviously your guys' shop is like one of the very few, or probably the only one I know that's like female oriented. For shops like, in other towns, how big of a deal or how impactful do you think it is to have a female present in the shop?
Honestly, like I would actually pose that question to you guys, because you've been in town, you've been to multiple shops. I can give you my biased opinion. Obviously, I think it's incredibly important, and I am pretty particular with who we hire. I want them to love snowboarding, because if you don't love snowboarding, you're not going to absorb all of the information, and it's a lot of information. And I'm so fortunate that the girls who work the shop love snowboarding, and it is their life. And not that I've asked that of them to sacrifice anything, but it is their life. And they care so much about doing a job, and they care so much about getting girls on the proper board or the proper boots or the proper bindings. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like you guys, like Lindsay can also weigh in on this too, but I mean, I've definitely been into other shops before, and I've only ever been approached by guys. I've been to a lot of trade shows. I remember talking to Shelby, who is now the DC rep, who worked at one board shop in Kelowna, and she said she was never allowed to work in the hard goods section because she was a girl. It was only guys allowed in the hard goods section. And I mean, the amount of times I've heard that story is like pretty unfortunate. We're so fortunate of the guys that we have at the shop too, because they know that we know more than them about product.
Literally,
I'm not even
like,
sugarcoating. I'm not like, they know that we know more about product on both the men's side and the women's side. To give you an example, Keel, one of our really good friends who used to do some part-time work for us last year, came in this guy came in and asked, was looking at boards, and I asked him about boards, like got into conversation with him and like told him, spent my time with him. And as soon as that conversation ended, he looked at Keel and he was like, but what do you think? Keel goes, I don't know, man. She knows way more than me, and walked away. And like the guys there are so good for that, and they'll always have our backs. And you know, I feel like maybe, again, super biased, we've maybe like slowly built that reputation where the girls who work at the shop do actually know a thing or two about snowboarding. So less and less do we see that customer come in. And I remember, yeah. And I remember when I first started working in the shop, like the amount of guys that would come in with their girlfriends, and they didn't want our help because they knew everything about women's boards, and they were going to get their girlfriends on the same boards as them, and the same bindings and the same boots, you know, like it didn't matter what we said. And I have so many examples of when guys tried to step in. So many. And I think more like on the industry side of things, it's less, I mean, I think this is as important. There needs to be more women buyers buying women's hard goods, because it's not enough. It's guys buying women's product. They're the ones who are limiting our selection. You know, they're the ones telling us that we only like boards according to the graphic, according to whether or not the boots have boas, according to how soft the bindings are. They're the ones that are limiting our selection. So I get
we deal with that here too. Like, and then they go, well, it's not selling, and it's like, bro, that's good.
Yeah,
you don't have what you want.
Yeah, there's no market for it, and it's like, I know I've had this conversation with many people within the industry, and you know, every year they tell me that women don't want laces. Women don't want laces. Women don't want laces.
We want laces.
Yeah. Trust me. And I'm here telling them that the last lace is my best-selling boot year after year after year, and I bring in 5 different colors year after year after year, and you cannot tell me that women want just laces. So that's just one example, but yeah, I mean, I can get pretty heated on the topic.
Yeah, it's I wasn't expecting to get this question flipped on us. I think a part of the reason why I like wanted to ask this question is I guess I wanted to hear like the answer I wanted to hear, which is my opinion of like, because I kind of like started snowboarding when I was 20, so it was like, you know, a little bit of a late bloomer, and it took like a couple of years to start figuring shit out, being like, oh, this is what, like, you know, I remember when I got my first pair of like bindings that weren't like used and clapped out and like super soft, and like riding stiff bindings. It's like, oh, whoa, this is game changing. And then the year after that, I like moved to like stiff boots. I was like, oh, yo, this is sick. Like, why hasn't anyone told me? And like this year, I'm like, oh, this board's stiff, and I'm like, I'm digging it, and like obviously the right times, but I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, why hasn't anyone told me about this? Like, this is amazing. Like, and it's taken like 5 years of like me just like happening to buy something out of a guess, because there isn't someone at our like in my kind of like my go-to places where I'm like, oh, like there's a girl who rides park who knows what's up or rides like my type of riding, and there's no one to be like, hey girl, like guess what, this is stiff binding, you're gonna like it. Like no one's been there for me to do that, especially like kind of being late in the game. And Hannah as well, she's a bit late in the game.
We all are, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I started boarding when I was 22, 23. Nikki, how old are you? 25? 20. Nikki was 28. Like, and I think like, all of the girls at the shop, with the exception, Corey, like had done it a few times when she was a lot younger. Same with Chelsea, but like actually got into snowboarding when they moved out here. So they're all, it's like super relatable, right? Like everyone's good at relating their experiences, like, or just understanding where you're coming from. But it's totally about breaking down that intimidation factor. Like I know that feeling, Nikki. of like figuring shit out. Even like when I started working at board shop before I fucking snowboarded. And nobody at the shop would talk to me for 3 months because they were rude boys and they were the coolest shop around.
Yeah, but you were hitting talk before you could talk.
Yeah. I forget my train of thought, but yeah, like I know that intimidation factor. Like I walked into Unlimited, our friends down the road, and like, you know, I walked in with my skateboard and the guy was like, do a kickflip, and I was like, fuck you, I'm out. And then I walked into Rude Boys and nobody talked to me, and I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And then yeah, I don't know. So like I know that feeling and it sucks, and that's like what we really try and break down is like break down that barrier, make people feel comfortable coming into the shop, and like make them feel comfortable asking questions that they need to ask, because there is no stupid question when it comes to snowboarding, because there's so much shit out there in terms of terminology, and in the end a lot of it means the same thing, and you need us just to like translate it for you.
I also think like women are super approachable to like men and women. I think it's like, it's nice. I think for a lot of, even I did a very brief stint at the shop, but to have like some like very beginner young guys come in and be like, I don't know what to get. And like, I think women just have like a gentle demeanor and like are super approachable and easy to talk to about it. And like,
Totally.
just kind of help like navigate what's the right choice, or like, yeah, what kind of gear to get. And yeah, I don't know.
Sorry to answer your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's sick. And I was just gonna say, like, I'm pretty, like, just from that, yeah, like super relatable. And you guys talking earlier about the first question of like kind of like your community, it sounds like we have so much in common of like the intimidation thing. Like that's why we kind of started out, and that's why I think like board shops need a girl in there, is because it's like sometimes intimidating without it, and like going in as a shopper and being like, hey, I like kind of do know my stuff, like don't sell me short, like kind of thing. And I think it leads well into like the next question if Hannah wants to ask it.
Yeah. I think I also just want to say, I think what you guys are doing by having girls in the shop is also like, as well as just you not being intimidating, it's also like being able to go and talk to a girl who like understands that as a girl, like you can ride. Like me going into a shop now, I sometimes start talking to a guy who's trying to sell me something, but like he's not understanding that I also know what I'm talking about. Like I'm not an expert anyway, but like I know what camber is, you know, like I know what I want. And like they're trying to sell me some flexy little board, and I'm like, no, like I can ride, you know, like
So much, I'm sorry.
yeah. I'm like, no, hold up, like I don't need you to explain to me like what you're explaining to me right now. And like that's when I really miss like having a woman in a shop who's like, okay, I understand that you can already ride and like you can get down the mountain, so like let's talk about how we're going to progress your riding more than just like the basic. But yeah, next question, I guess. Like yeah, we've been trying to start creating this community of female shredders here, and part of our interview series been talking to other small girls crew trying to do the same, and we wondered like what challenges you face as well as what you've already talked about, and do you have any tips?
What challenges have we faced? I mean, honestly, this town is pretty incredible in that everyone's been incredibly supportive. I was so fortunate that my ex-partner, he is the terrain park builder up at Sunshine and really good friends with the marketing manager who's in charge of all of the events. And David Seidel is his name, the marketing manager. And when I had approached him about the doing these girls ride days and stuff, he literally said to me, he's like, yep, we're just not going to take it to upper management. I'm not going to charge you anything, so you can keep your event free. If you partner with brands, then just make sure that they have their insurance set up for their demo days, which they do anyways at the resort, and then your insurance is covered for everybody at the resort, or for everybody that attends the ride day. So, I mean, I would like to say that like we've had little barriers. I've experienced one rep who told me who I didn't know what I was doing. Really, 5 years later, saw all the events take off and wanted to take part. Yeah. And the only tips I would have is to ask for help. So like reach out to me, reach out to any of us, like just ask for help. Be like, yo, how do I go about this? Like, we're all trying to do it for the same reason. We're all trying to get girls into snowboarding, excited about snowboarding, and keeping them snowboarding. Because unfortunately, women's snowboarding is still only 25% of the industry. So like we all need to do this and we all need to work together. And I'm not gonna lie, that's been like a learning part on my end. Like I've always seen like other, and not you guys in particular, but more locally, like other girls cruises, like competitors and stuff. And I'm like, no, like we're actually all in this together. Like we're all doing this for the exact same reason. And if there's any way that we can support you guys, and you just let us know. If that means like sending out prizing or whatever, and just like getting like anything. If you need us to call anybody, you let us know. Or I don't know what pool we'll have, but
yeah, or even like ideas. Like, I feel like
the wine's getting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, even like ideas. Like over the years, we've done some cool like different events. We did like was it like a scavenger hunt type thing?
Yeah,
here? And like
Queen of the Hill. Yeah,
Queen of the Hill.
That was super fun.
There's like
That sounded so cool. I wanted to. I forget why I had to miss the Queen of the Hill, but I had to, and I was like, that's like probably one of the coolest events I've heard of.
Oh, so
yeah.
fun.
Like
Definitely
that cool task list.
Yeah, we definitely like took the idea from Thrasher's King of the Road. Like totally stole that idea. Like not original whatsoever.
But I feel like some of our like things were cute and original. And
yeah.
I remember like Abby reached out to all the girls. We have like a group chat and
Call it Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Yeah.
And she was just like, hey, do you guys have any cool ideas for like different things we can do for this? And all the girls, again, we all like come together and put together some like weird, some of them are like, she's like, oh no, like no way. And then other ones are like, fuck yeah, like they're super fun and like, yeah. So it's cool seeing like the girls all kind of collaborate and come together too with some cool ideas. But
And Queen of Quarantine.
Yeah, Queen of Quarantine. Yeah, that was Isabel's idea, actually. That was Isabel's idea.
Yeah.
That was all
Thank you for that, because I'm repping Desiree's Gypsy right now because of Queen of Quarantine. So,
and
like,
I saw you won that L1 jacket too, and I was like, what the fuck?
I know. I was like, what's happening this week? What's going on?
Yeah, it's so sick.
On the flip of that, and like, you know, us, we love what you girls are doing and fully support, and we can kind of see the community that, like, even from afar, we can see the community you guys are creating, and you know, like kind of how you guys are. But even after all of these years and all the successes that you have had, do you guys still get a lot of negative criticism?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely. And the criticism comes from people who don't know us and like have never been to an event and don't know what we do and see us from afar and see us as intimidating.
Are you okay?
He's panting.
He is panting.
He's panting. We get a lot, like Keeney. There's a few guys in town who mention often how we're very, we're not clingy, but cliquey. I want to say we're very cliquey. We're very exclusive more than inclusive. Yeah, which is really unfortunate because the exact barrier we try and kind of break down. Yeah. And it's the exact reason why we do these virtual or these ride days is so that people don't think that, because I think that is detrimental to snowboarding and women's snowboarding in particular. Yeah.
But it was really cool to be on the other end at your guys' event. I was like, oh my God, I hope people feel like this at our events, because this is like insane. Like, this is so much fun. And then like Queen of Quarantine, I think obviously was a huge impact for us as our crew of Nothing in the Pantry, because we kind of did it together. Like, we'd call each other every day and be like, oh, did you have your cold shower today? Like, it kept us really connected. And it was just like, it wasn't even connected with Queen of Quarantine, but is connected within our community to be connected with the Queen of Quarantine. And then also watching the latest like virtual ride days, like we see it here at Silver Star. Like there's lots of girls going out and getting it. We're like, what the heck? This is so cool. And like a lot of the girls, and like I was talking to one girl, I've never ridden with her, but I noticed like every week I'm like, hey, you're working on that trick. I see that. And she's like, yeah,
That's so cute.
like it's so cool to know like what she's like some like what to do in what order. Like she's like, I've been wanting to get in here, but super unsure of like what to do next. And I'm like, well, they're telling you. And yeah, like honestly, like it's crazy how many girls that we're seeing in the park doing stuff, and it's just like, oh, whoa, like like girls we haven't even seen that much. Like obviously I'm in the park a lot working there, and like girls who I haven't really seen go in the park are going in now to like do these things, and it's like,
wow,
yeah, you guys really are inclusive. At the end of that long rant, you guys are very inclusive, and it's been really sick to have the opportunity to be part of that inclusivity.
yeah,
it's been super.
And thank you for taking part of it, and thank you for like running it out there. And like, I mean, I feel like thank you is like taking some sort of like claim of it, but no, but like thank you for just like keeping girls stoked out there and like keeping them snowboarding, because yeah, that's what like everywhere, every town needs. It's not there isn't enough of it. So yeah, what you guys are doing is like equally as fucking incredible, so I really appreciate that. And you guys are getting girls hyped out there. So
Hell yeah.
we see it in the tag stories all the time. I'm like, oh, you know, the Pantry girls.
I also feel like community doesn't mean just like one town. It's like we're like community is like, you know, countrywide or even like international. Like,
yeah,
it's just really special to see girls all over the place like participating and getting involved, and it's super rad. Like, yeah,
you should see me going through the videos. I'm just like, I'm like the biggest screamer. I'm like biggest smile on my face. I'm like, oh my, I like can't stop smiling. It's so sick though. Like, oh man, yeah, we weren't really expecting this kind of response with it. It's crazy. Like I'm pretty speechless. Like all the brands like jumped behind it so quickly, and you know, we kind of threw this idea, and I was like, man, this idea is kind of weak. Like, I don't know. And then one of the reps hit me back, and he's like, this is the best idea I've ever heard. And I'm like, you're just saying that because you want me to buy more. Like, I've already submitted my order. I'm not adding anything to it. But no, like, and then he was like, yo, I've got you a board coming. Like, and then it got me in contact with like one of the old pros that works for that company. I don't want to spoil it for you guys because it's coming at the end of the event. And then Nitro like stepped up huge last week and got Chris Fire, Alexis Rowland, and Taylor Davies involved, and like they gave away 2 snowboards, and like Solomon the first week with Desiree's setup, and then like this week Burton stepped up huge as well, and it's pretty. Next week, yeah, wait for next week is pretty big deal too. So yeah, you know, we had planned this where it was like, okay, we're gonna like set tricks for girls each week. And I don't know if you guys know who Kelsey Boyer is and Melissa Rotano.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate that they came out here for a K2 ride day the same year of the Nitro ride day that you came out for, Nikki. And like since then, like we've all been like really good friends. We've attended Beyond the Boundary events with them. We've seen them at like Miss Super Park, It's Tit. So like we've all been able to stay in contact. And I connected with Kelsey and Melissa because I was like, Melissa wanted to do something down in Brighton. So I was like, let's like collaborate, let's do something together. And like they really helped me hone in on the idea, and like they really were like, hey, this is what you actually need to do. Like we'll reach out to all of the riders, like we've got that partaking because they're all down there with them. They got them all involved, and I was like, wow, like this is crazy how actually supportive like women's snowboarding is. It's not this big like competitive scene that I used to think it was when I first started.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool to see everybody come together, and it was really cool to have like everybody jump on board.
It's amazing.
It's so incredible.
I just wish I had the same kind of like support when I first
Same.
started. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm so grateful like to be part of such an awesome community and like meet some amazing friends. And
yeah, we're all friends because of snowboarding. Like,
yeah,
it's so sick how it brought us all together. So
yeah.
yeah.
That's cute. Sometimes like I like look around at the friend group of snowboarders and skiers and stuff that I have, and I'm like, I wonder if we didn't ride, if we would like be friends. I'm like,
And it's
we're a weird bunch going on.
yeah, and
like I don't know what would our tie be.
All the different like personalities come together too, and you're like, wow, like we are actually so different, like all of us. and it's like, yeah, would we be friends if we weren't snowboarders?
Like
I don't know.
Al, if you see this, I love you, but I don't know if we'd be friends if we didn't snowboard. I don't know if we would ever like talk to each other if it wasn't for snowboarding, and I'm so glad we do because I love the shit out of her.
We also love Scrabble.
Yeah.
Alsa and I are avid Scrabble players.
Cool.
I love
bond
her.
over that too, but it's really cool. Bringing together a bunch of different random girls that have weird different hobbies and shit, and we all get along so good. So
yeah,
so good. On this positive spin of everything, what else in the female snow world, like right now, like obviously things like Heroes is coming out, and then Uninvited 2 just came out this season. What are some things in the female sports industry other than yourselves that is happening that gets you pumped up?
Surfing for me. Skateboarding, like
skateboarding's huge right now.
Seeing this girl skate scene just explode in the last like couple years, it's huge. It just like oh my god, there's chicks throwing down insane tricks, and like
there's a good crew out in Vancouver.
Yeah,
skate witches are so dope, and like look up to them so much. Skate Like a Girl down in like Seattle and Portland, like I really look up to what Kristen Ebling is doing down there, and like I've really recently have like tried to model like what she has said previously to like what we want to do in the future, and just like they're so inclusive, and like they just want people skateboarding, and like we just want people snowboarding.
Nice. So you guys have obviously ridden with and like produced some really amazing riders. Have you ever had a fangirl moment with who?
Yeah, like every ride. Okay, Christy Pryor, like you don't understand, like like Nikki and I have been obsessed with Christy Pryor forever, and she is the nicest human. And even though she doesn't snowboard nearly as much as every other snowboarder out there, it doesn't matter, she kills it. She's so sick. Maria Thompson was so incredible to me. I was like fairly intimidated to meet her because obviously of her stature, but she is the nicest, most humble human being. Just the sweetest. Lindsay's dropping back in for this one.
I love Maria. She's amazing. Yeah. She bowled with us. And Christy is so incredible. Yeah. Like, oh man. She's like your like not typical, but like New Zealand people are so fucking friendly and amazing and humble and kind, and she just like, she is just a one of a kind.
Marie Francois is super nice too.
She's amazing.
So nice. And she gives back to the community a lot. Yeah. Jamie Anderson is just like always, I've only ever met her once, and she was super nice. I was like, I couldn't talk to her because I was like,
same. I met her in Monica. She was just like, it's actually funny. We were trying to close the shop. I was working at a shop at the time, and we were trying to close it. And we had like a staff event that night, and it was 5 minutes to 7. Shop closes at 7. A girl comes in, and all the staff were like, "Oh man, we just want to close the shop." And then I was like, "Yo guys, I think that's Jamie Anderson." And then like walked over. We closed the door behind, like locked it up for the night. And we were drinking wine before our like night out with our bosses and like the whole team and everything. And she was so rad. She was like we told her we had a staff gig. We're like, "Do you want some wine with us?" And she like drank wine with us and was so nice. And she's like, "I can come back tomorrow and try this stuff on." We're like, "No, girl, you're trying it on now, and you're going to drink wine with us as long as you don't mind that we're like doing our makeup and stuff." She was like, "Oh my God," of course. She was just so lovely, like very genuine and just, yeah.
Nikki ran the stop sign because she saw Desiree Mellinson on the side of the shop.
Understandable.
Desiree came into the shop once, and I like did not talk to her because I was like, she was looking at her board and she was looking at her boot, and I just stood there staring at her. But she is also like the nicest, most down to earth person ever, and yeah, like Alexis Rowland is so sick too, and Melissa Hurtado, Kelsey Boyer, and Nirvana Ortiz, like they're all. It's so crazy because we put them all on this pedestal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We put everybody on this pedestal, and we're like, you guys are incredible. Like what you do is incredible. And then they turn around to us and they're like, what you guys do is incredible. We're like, how do you know what us?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what? You know what Rude Girls is? I met Desiree once, and I was introduced to her like, oh, this is Abby. She works at Rude Girls, and she's like, yo, Rude Girls is sick, and I was like, oh,
Like
I can retire now. I can retire.
Asking if we can get an inside scoop of any brands that have been super supportive with female riding specifically, and if so, like how's it shown? Like what are they doing that stands out from other brands?
We're really fortunate that we're really good friends with the owner of Nitro Canada, and he owns half of Nitro US. Yeah. He used to live in Banff years ago, and I mean, we only know him from when he bought Nitro Canada, which was fairly recent, and he has always put the biggest emphasis on wanting to support whatever we do, because he sees the value in it, and he sees the value in women's snowboarding. And I'm gonna be super honest with you guys, like women's snowboarding doesn't make money for companies. Like I said, a lot of times we're looking at 25 to 35% of their sales. 35% is like good. So the fact that they're taking a lot of their marketing budget and putting it back into the women's snowboard community is saying something about a company. So Nitro is huge for that. Flew out Zoe Stowski-Sinnott from New Zealand, Lori Bluon. Chrissy Pryor was supposed to come to that event that you were at, Nikki, but she had concussed herself. Like huge emphasis on women's snowboarding, huge emphasis on our community.
Just like they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're so amazing.
In saying that, like more regionally, like Solomon, our Solomon rep out here has always been one of our.
Yeah.
He's been our number one fan since the get-go. He's been incredible.
Yeah. DC as well.
Like yeah, DC. Oh my God.
Oh, man.
It's super unfortunate. One of our DC, like our DC rep has unfortunately been let go from DC. And yeah, he's also been like the first person to always email me and be like, when can I do a Rude Girls Ride Day with you guys? And he always gives out the best prizing too. Kits everybody out.
Oh man, he's so much support from DC.
And then K2 has been incredible the last few years. K2 has a K2 Alliance too. I don't know if you ladies have heard of it before, but the K2 Alliance is basically they have a lot of women weigh in on their products, which is pretty awesome. Ride is the same as well, and K2. For me personally, they've really reached out to me to help me like get my input on a lot of things, really helped me out personally. They've really, they sent us a lot of boards this year so that I could actually pay the girls for the ride days this year, which would have been the first time ever they would have been paid for it. Unfortunately, we can't do ride days. But yeah, they've been incredible too. Really big support from them. Yeah, Burton's been great too. Like,
true. Burton. Yeah.
Burton was more regionally at first, and now it's like gone to their marketing manager, which is great. And like we've seen a lot of support from him too. So, yeah, it's been great.
Stick.
You missing anybody?
I guess
scared.
Nikita, more in the early days, we had a lot of Nikita support. And
yeah, we had a few Nikita girls who ride days out here, which is really fun. Unfortunately, the marketing manager, she's actually working for another company that we don't work with, but she's doing incredible things already, so that's really great to see.
Yeah, sounds like there's a few. Sounds sweet.
Yeah, there's definitely a few that are not doing anything, and yeah, I mean.
So we've obviously loved your collabs with like Salmon Arm and this year Brianne Papp and those hoodies. So nice. Have you got any more plans that you can tell us about for collabs in the future, or like who would be your dream?
Yeah, we've got collabs coming for next year in particular.
Going collabs.
Rude Girls is 21 years as of this year, but we're gonna carry that over into next season. So like Rude Girls standalone as a shop is 21 years. We have something working. I don't know if you guys know of the other skaters in Winnipeg. Emily Raffinson and her girlfriend Maddie are incredible, and they've facilitated this incredibly inclusive community around skateboarding out there. They call themselves the Other Skaters. They've started their own zine. They You have like their own nights at this indoor skate park, which is the only night that's not funded. So they pay it out of their own pocket. So they started the zine to help raise money for it, but also with the zine, they're paying people who are taking photos, the artists and the writers. And it's super small time. I think they have 3 issues, maybe 2 issues. They're working on number 3. And it's an LGBTQ plus like community. Yeah, what they have out there is incredibly admirable, and I want to go visit them so badly. But they came out to one of our skate nights a few years ago, and we met them all then. And we reached out to Emily purely because of what she does out there, and we're like, can you skate for us? Because we just want to be able to help you keep skating. It's not even necessarily like you representing us. It's more like, what can we do to help you keep doing what you're doing? Yeah, so we have something in the works with them, which is I'm like super excited about, which I'm so excited.
Yeah,
So you just want the title of that zine again?
The Other Skaters.
The Other Skaters, cool.
Check them out. They're dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, have to.
Then a little off topic, but just going on the theme of COVID, sort of traveling and things like that. Do you guys listen to any podcasts? And if so, what podcasts are you into?
Oh, I'm into true. I listen to true crime.
Yo, I love.
Pretty much it. Any like crime based, like I'm real into like, and like if we get into like Netflix and all that shit too, I'm any crime documentary or podcast I'm pretty much down with. Or RuPaul's Drag Race, like 2 polar opposite things, but yeah, I like a good crime documentary or podcast.
Love true crime.
So good.
It's like,
and it's all Canadian, which is like it's wild. Yeah.
I found a good like an Australian one too, which is kind of cool, and it gives a lot of like the pretext to the crime. It gives you a lot of information about like the area, like about the outback and how people commute on this road, and the towns and the cities sort of around it and what. Anyway, so you learn facts about it too.
Okay,
so
I want to. If I can maybe get you to send me that, okay. I would love to listen. I lived in Australia for a year, so I feel like I could really like put it in perspective or try to. But
yeah, the guy that's talking, he's Australian. He's super Australian.
Okay.
So as long as you can handle that,
I can handle. Yeah,
but,
but I can handle it.
So the one I'm listening to right now is there's newlyweds were drowned. She died on the Great Barrier Reef, scuba diving.
Oh.
I don't know what's happened.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm on edge.
Okay, Abby, what's the title of this? Like, I need to know the title. I'm never gonna listen.
I have to find it. I don't know. Okay. Spotify. I'll send it.
Okay. Yeah. Send it my way, or send it. Yeah. Send it to Rue Girls. Abby can send it to me, or we'll find each other.
Okay.
I've been off social media for the last few months, so I've been very like inactive, but I'm
good for you.
I'm back on it. So yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, we'll talk.
Okay.
And I listened to The Bomb Hole.
Yeah.
Chris Grenier and Eastone. It's like a snowboard podcast, and yeah, it's so dope. Obviously, like Desiree, Jill Perkins, Nirvana, Jib Girl,
Hannah.
Heard about it.
Yeah, Hannah Beeman is so.
Sorry.
I've also met her in person, and she is so sick, and she's so nice. She's so.
I literally just listened to that episode today.
Yeah, I met her.
How badass is she? I was like, you're so rad. Like,
I don't know if you've ever watched any of her old footage, but it's so sick. It's so sad. Yeah, I love The Bomb Hole. Down for that. I feel like I've learned a lot about snowboarding history because, again, like we all came into it fairly late. So people are like, don't you know who blah, blah, blah is? And you're like, no, like where they pro? Is it prior to 2012? Because then I don't know.
Yeah, and like, how do you catch up? Like, there's so much now. It's like, how do you just catch up on it? I'm like super into print, as so is Hannah, and like the Curator books. Have you heard of Curator Publishing? Oh my God, they've been like so sick with that. I'm like,
I saw your
so snowboard educated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, that stuff. Yeah, I'm personally into like really into like supporting artists, and like really into supporting like my friends' work too. For example, JJ Westbury, I don't know if you know who he is. He writes for Solomon, part of the SRD crew, but he started quilting over quarantine, and he's so fucking talented. And I got commissioned him to make me a blanket. Brianne's work. Who else? My friend Hannah, who lives in the UK. Yeah, just like get this like weird high out of like buying other like friends' art and stuff, like knowing that's gonna help them.
Even knickknack, like
Yeah.
her stuff. Can I show you guys something really quick?
Oh yeah.
Show your Michelangelo. Oh, Gabby? Yeah. She made this for me.
Yo. Yeah.
She made it for my boyfriend's birthday present. Okay. So my boyfriend likes to smoke weed, so he has a doobie.
I love the doobie.
And then my boyfriend also loves nunchucks, so she did some nunchucks, and that's it. They both love Ninja Turtles, so.
I know Nikki has never let me pay for an art piece before. Oh my God. Nikki has also done this piece of Ozzy, and it looks more like Ozzy than Ozzy looks like Ozzy.
Oh
my God.
I'm trying to find it. Oh, here it is. It's insane.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
on my wall at home. Can you see that?
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's insane.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
we're lucky to have her.
Yeah,
she's very talented.
Like stupidly talented. And not even
yeah, it's not because of the red wine.
Also very humble.
But yeah.
Super talented.
Nikki back there making pizza. What about your podcast? What do you got?
I listen to Freakonomics sometimes. I don't know if you know it.
Nikki's the smart one of the group.
But I also just listen to audiobooks more than anything.
Oh yeah, Audible.
I'll just like listen to an audiobook.
Do you have a couple? What's your most recent couple books?
Well, I actually like to listen to it. Like one at the moment is the one that I gave you. I'm listening to it.
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits. So I like to listen to things that help, like I know, motivate me to like be more productive. I'm most productive when I'm like doing my stuff like sketching, but then in life I'm a procrastinator, so like I try and like, teach myself to be better at life stuff, because when I'm like I don't know, like when I'm dedicated towards my art or snowboarding or things that I'm really interested in, I'm really good at it, but then everything else I'm just like like yeah, so I'll just listen to like stuff like that, yeah, or anything about dinosaurs really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dinosaurs. Hit it a little fact about it. She loves dinosaurs.
Actually, there's probably a couple in my plants. There we go.
Oh my God, there's so many in her plants. They're hiding everywhere.
Oh my God. So good. Dinosaur. Okay.
Sick.
Yeah, nothing too exciting. I mean,
You'll have to check out. Have you heard of Radiolab?
No.
Oh my God, you need to listen to Radiolab. I'm just remembering, I think they had this episode of like, you know, when did the asteroid that hit Earth that like demolished dinosaurs, they have like an episode on how the dinosaurs got extinguished. But like Radiolab does the most random stories, but they're just so good at telling them.
like a background of like how things kind of existed or are.
Yeah, and they just have like reporters who go and just like their editor is like just makes it so good. It's like pretty much they send out their reporters and the reporter like reports it to like the two hosts, and the hosts are like, holy shit, like
yeah,
why's that? And they're like, well, listen, here's the interview.
Got a minute.
It's one of my favorite podcasts, and it's just about the most random stuff.
Yep.
And I think everyone should listen to Radiolab. It's amazing.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna definitely write that down.
Yeah, now I want to listen to.
Radiolab.
It's even there was like one of them I listened to was about like the Chinese keyboard, and I was fascinated.
The keyboard.
And I was like the typing keyboard. Like they don't have keyboards like all the time, and they have keyboard typing competitions to show the ultimate keyboard, and it's like,
yeah, that's actually
it's
dope.
crazy. And then it goes into like the culture of like, well, like if you go to this keyboard, you're eliminating this part of Chinese culture because of words.
Yeah, because they don't have all the symbols and stuff, right?
Right?
Mandarin.
It's just like
the
most random things, but it's like
I've just started getting into Tetris, so I've been watching a couple of those competitions online, and it's you should see them. That's real quick. That's quick on the.
I did not know this. Sorry.
Anyway, keyboards.
all right, go make your pizza.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more serious question before we jump into what we call our like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. questions of like what you ask each other when you're shit-faced. So the final question is there any subject that you find, or any of you girls find, in this female snow industry that is getting left untouched or not talked about?
I gotta dig deep for this one. I think it goes back to I want to say it goes back to women who are actually buying women's hard good products. I feel like that is never touched on. It's never brought up. And then what else? I feel like honestly, it's slow, but I think we are getting there. I just like with a few things that I know coming for the future, like fits are being amended when it comes to pants and jackets. People are actually starting to listen to us. So I don't want to say that anything is being untouched, but that is definitely stuff that has been untouched previously. But I think that there needs to be more women in the industry. There needs to be more representatives for brands out there. And I'm not just talking like soft goods, I'm talking hard goods. There needs to be confidence in women in the industry on the backside of the industry, not just on the front side at the shops. It needs to be on the backside. There needs to be women higher up within the companies. Guys need to talk to women about what we actually want. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know if that any of that makes sense, but yeah.
That makes sense. It's understandable and like have a massive impact. So
yeah, like I don't think I've ever met a female rep when it comes to a hard good brand. Definitely talked to a few in terms of soft goods, but girls know more than just fashion. Girls know hard goods for sure. Girls know what girls like to ride. Girls know what guys like to ride. We know tech. Yeah, so I think there needs to be more representation with women in the industry, not just on like the professional side of snowboarding, but like actually within the industry. Yeah, Mary, I don't know.
Good answer.
I actually really think that she goes very under the radar, Mary Walsh.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
There needs to be more emphasis on how much Mary Walsh actually does for women's snowboarding.
She's like a crazy human. Like,
yeah.
She's actually a robot.
Yeah. She's a writer. She's a photographer.
A snowboarder.
She's a snowboarder.
Yeah, she's a writer, editor,
photographer.
I just said all of those
Yeah.
things.
She's also somebody that lives off cold brew coffee.
She lives off cold brew coffee.
Okay, let me get back to what I was
3
saying.
hours of sleep a night.
Let me get back to what I was saying. Okay, Mary Walsh with Christine Savage, they organize Beyond the Boundaries. So they do like ride days, weekends for girls with professional coaches such as like Melissa Tunnell, Madison Blackley, Aria Marone, Summer Fenton, like all of these big name riders. Yeah, Savannah Golden, like all these big name riders. And they organize them all over North America. That is just one of Mary's job. Mary is also a writer and photographer for Snowboarder Mag, which is now Slush the magazine. She is also consulting with 686 on their women's line and like pretty much the women's TM to try and help steer them in the right direction in terms of like their team. so Mary, I don't think is talked about enough. She's always behind the scenes. I think she needs to be in front, and like people need to recognize how much she does for
Well,
women
she was
snowboarding.
natural selection.
She was also a commentator for natural selection. I was at Dew Tour last year. I was at Dew Tour last year. They were doing like a Beyond the Boundaries event there, and Mary got asked to step in as a commentator for like slopestyle, and she knew more on every single rider than any other commentator. She's like,
because her brain's is big.
Yeah,
her head's not big.
the most knowledgeable person I know in snowboarding.
Yeah, she's
on men's and women's. Yeah, she's incredible. So people need to recognize Mary Walsh.
Yeah. She's so
always like emphasizing on like how great everyone else is doing, and like and because she can do that, like she has the platform, like she writes and she's a photographer, so she can put that out there, but nobody really emphasizes on how great she is.
I sent her a message a lot, like her last snowboarder mag. There was like a piece that she wrote about like women in the industry who aren't pro snowboarders, just like people in the industry, and it was just like so I found it so powerful to read, and like sent her a message just like thank you. And she even like had the time even through all this to reply and be like, you know, thanks for that, like thanks, nice to meet you kind of thing. Like what?
She's
like literally she doesn't sleep.
I actually don't know how she does it.
It's the cold brew.
Yeah,
it is the cold brew coffee. Well, we first met her, she wasn't even drinking
Remember
coffee.
when she
made us go, like when we were in Vancouver and she made us remember that? On the way to the hill, and she's like, if you could just stop and get me some cold brew. But we're in Canada, like in America, like cold brew is everywhere. You go everywhere.
Not at any
here we're like and she wants it by the carton. Like she doesn't want like just a bottle. She wants as big as you can get. And we were driving around Vancouver, not even
we did good.
We found some.
We found some at 7-Eleven.
That was her request for the day. It's like, just bring cold brew coffee. Yeah. Like, okay. That's gonna make you survive through the day.
But she's a doer within the women's side of the snowboard industry. I take that back. She is a doer within the snowboard industry. She is a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. And I think that snowboarding would not be where it's at without Mary.
I think it's very hard to stay personable when you're that busy. Like, and so she's like a pretty busy woman, like, and she's got a lot of like different hats on, like she like different roles in the industry, yet like she is so personable with everybody that she meets, and like makes you feel very, I don't know, like you're welcomed or known or special, like within like her own circle, and you're like, wow, like we look up to her, and like you don't even realize how much we look up to you. Like, and you remembered that I love dinosaurs. She did. Yeah, Mary Walsh.
Very well, yeah.
So to answer your question, more representation of women on the backside of the industry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Plus Mary Walsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like that's a big problem, is like the token girls on the face front, which I think is a problem that's disappearing. But yeah, there needs to be more girls on the backside of everything, actually making the decisions, not just putting on a face, you know?
Yeah. I feel like people need to recognize when brands are actually doing good as well. I feel like there's not enough of that. People only tend to recognize, and it goes for other people too. Like we only recognize when people are doing wrong by us. So we need to take recognition and appreciate the brands that are actually doing something for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Now for the fun. What were you gonna say, Annie?
No, you go. As I said,
it might be a bit crusty. It was in there for a while. Let me know what it's
What kind is it? What you got?
Vegan. It's a vegan pizza. We made a Big Mac one, so we made a Big Mac pizza tonight.
You should have a slice. Do you want a slice? So good.
I'm gonna eat. Is it good?
It tastes like a Big Mac.
Yes. That
is it Big Mac vegan?
No.
Oh, I thought you said vegan. I was like,
yeah. How'd you do that? Well, I've got the best photo of Ozzy looking at the pizza too. Oh, it's gold. Oh, like he is now.
Sorry, I'm so hungry.
no, sorry.
Go for it.
We're just being chin wagging, you know.
Oh yeah.
We
Um,
have just a few left of the most likely to in the
Yeah.
crew questions.
Hit me.
The first go is, who's the most likely to end up in jail and why?
Ellen. Really, because she's Ellen, she has no
and
boundaries.
because she's probably crossed the border with drugs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't say that on camera.
Oh my God.
And by drugs, I mean like prescription.
Of course. That's so good. Next question. Who takes the hardest slams?
Nikki. The amount of black eyes this girl has had. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Absolutely,
don't really
Nikki.
know how to board.
I don't know if I've ever seen Corey fall. I don't think I've ever seen Corey fall.
Except that time when Guillaume tried to throw her a candy and she ran into the sign.
Literally not in the park. She was riding out of the park and she ran into a sign. That was probably her hardest fall.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
No, she takes.
Ellen takes slams too.
Slams to the gram.
Who's most distracting at work?
I don't work.
I'm gonna say Allie. She'll like pull up some random like article and be like,
Or just talk your ear off about something.
Allie.
Distracting at work?
Yeah, for sure. Allie, 100%. She's the best. Yeah.
I couldn't work with Alan either.
we just couldn't get work done, we'd be chatting.
No, Allie's a really great conversationalist. So it's honestly hard to get work done when she's around,
because she's got so many good stories.
you just get so engaged in the conversation.
I really thought it was going to be Corey, just because I've seen like a lot of videos of her dancing at work or like scaring you guys at work.
No, that's a collective effort. That's a bad boss. That is
Chelsea,
me.
I feel like Chelsea could be like a.
Oh yeah.
Chelsea is the best worker ever. Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
She can crack the whip better than I can.
Really?
True.
Yeah,
Okay, I can
yeah.
see that.
I mean, I'd
can
be
see
scared of her.
Yeah.
Okay. Who on the crew has the craziest like stance or setup?
Isabel.
that.
Isabel's stance is narrower than mine, and I'm
Is it?
18.5. Yeah. She's 18 inches. Her setup's not that crazy, but her stance is fucked up, narrow. But she's so good. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
All of the girls ride for us, so I make sure their setup's not too crazy. No, you can't ride that.
But to be fair, first board we ever had. Kids boards.
Oh yeah, I was on a kids board.
You did.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm 5'1". I need a kids board.
Yeah, like it's so little. It's perfect.
Yeah. Did not work.
Yeah. My Abby learned about snowboarding
Yeah.
and saved us all.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to get off that rocker board immediately. How are you front
Change your
boarding?
game. Change your game.
There you go. Next question. Who's most likely to sleep in on a power day?
All of us. All of us. I don't know if anybody's like, I think everyone's kind of at that age where we're like,
I'm gonna say Alsal because she doesn't snowboard. in
Alsal.
powers.
Alsal
She doesn't have any goggles.
I gave her some.
Oh, good.
No, I would say all of us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad for that.
Actually,
Corey's probably the most keen.
Yeah, it's true. Corey's the most king.
I did get up at 6:30 this one time this year to go.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, that was
That's
good.
amazing.
Still have to wait in line forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, our motto used to be park laps on a power day.
Yeah, so we got up there.
You know, and that was back when like it was cool to ride park all the time. And, like we're like
it's
park
still
laps,
cool.
Park laps on a power day.
I can respect that.
Yeah, I'm
Go
down
from like cow landing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Who's most likely to get lost in their own neighborhood?
Corey.
That's why.
I dropped my pizza and my dog's eating it.
You know what? And that's why he's there. Why?
I don't want Corey to see this.
We're not cutting that part.
Somebody with her hold her hand. Corey needs somebody that holds her fucking hand. It was a shit show when we were in Pennsylvania for Miss Super Park.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She was stressed. I've never seen her stressed before because her flight was canceled and everything. And she's like, I just need to get home. And then she was looking at the GPS for me to get us to the hotel. And like I circled the block 3 or 4 times.
It was a very stressful night.
Yeah. We ended up in a very sketchy part of the city, and
Ellen's in the back. She's like, "Oh, look, there's a crackhead. Oh, there he is again. Oh, go past him one more time."
Taylor Davies. We didn't have enough seats in the car, so Taylor Davies, we packed her in the trunk with all the luggage.
And she had more space than I did.
Anyways, Corey,
Ellen's
for sure.
eating a salad right next to me, and elbows out.
Love you, Corey.
You know what?
Oh.
Oh no. All right. Who's first for après drinks? Après drinks.
Nikki or Ellen or Lindsay. Nikki, Ellen, or Lindsay for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've already started a bar tab.
Yeah.
Who DJs on road trips?
Ooh. Well,
I'm gonna say Abby.
mm-hmm.
That's you, the R&B fucking throwback tunes.
Yeah.
Is that your jam?
Oh yeah.
R&B throwback?
Yeah.
You got a public Spotify or what?
It's Abby. For sure it's Abby.
We have fun in the car.
A little Tyga.
Yeah. Got our white girl dance on.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that would be me apparently.
Yep.
All right. Final final question. Who has the best pocket snacks?
Ooh, Josie Ann.
Does she?
Josie Ann Smart always has chocolate covered almonds or little snacks every time.
My pocket snacks are not good.
No, I always have carrots. I like break carrots and stuff, but that's not a good pocket snack.
No.
That's like a desperate in the morning when we
I don't
leave the
have
house,
pocket
like,
snacks.
I carry pocket dates.
That's a new thing for you. Yeah.
That's a snack.
But
Pocket
I would
dates.
say Josie
Yeah.
Ann, she kills it. She's like prepared. She's like almost like a mom a little bit and prepared, and
Josie
she
Ann.
has like her
Yeah.
cute little like zip up pouch and like pulls them out. And
She always has the right gear on for the right environment.
she's
She is the
Who
mom.
does that?
She bought a house before
Yeah,
anybody
she's
else.
got a house, dog, like a real job. She's got the pocket snacks. Yeah. Yeah. Music, pocket snacks.
She knows what
Wine.
she's doing.
Oh, I miss Josie Ann.
Last year I was really big into the dragon fruits in the pocket.
Oh wow.
Oh, what?
Ever had a grapefruit in there?
It is a power move when you're on the chairlift and you're like, here's my dragon fruit.
No, Nikki, remember, I got to the park the other day and Nikki's there, like, basking in the sunshine, and she's looking around. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm looking for something to open this. And then she goes and she picks up the park rate. And I'm like, what is she doing? And then she's got a fresh coconut with the park rate, cracking open the coconut. I'm like, is that a fresh coconut?
Yeah.
Just to say, it wasn't the rake. I don't want to get in trouble for using a rake. It was the side cutter, more understandable.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that is so
Sorry.
funny.
Yeah. Give a straw, like obviously one of your own, not a plastic one.
Yeah, no, I got this coconut and it's like pre-husked and it comes with this like bamboo straw that you just stab in. You drink it, and then when you're done, you just get the side cutter and you crack her open.
Yeah, and then you've got yourself some fresh coconut.
It's the dream. I have 3 in my fridge right now.
Yeah, and if you like roll it in the snow, you got yourself a pina colada.
Oh. I'm sure Abby has that on her playlist. If you like pina coladas.
Free girl again. Oh yeah. That's her.
I can make a drink out of anything.
Well, that's all the questions we really had for the night. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on, or?